We are here at the BDH waiting on the CEO of TakeProfitTrader. He'll be here today for the live stream. Find out what's coming on, what's new, what's going on, and all that fun stuff. So we're getting fired up, BDH style, baby. Let's go.
We are here today with my good friend, James Sixsmith from TakeProfitTrader. You might have seen him back in the day playing on the ice. We're excited to have him here today and kind of talk about what it's like as the CEO of TakeProfitTrader. What do you think the biggest problem for prop firm traders are? Why do they blow up?
It's oversized and trading too often is what we see as the number one. And two, I just can't advocate enough how important it is to keep your size under control in your account, where I'm talking about trading the biggest account you can and trading almost the smallest the size that you're allowed to in that account will give you the most longevity from what I've seen. There's a PDF on our website that shows what I see when I come in the morning to the risk management. I look at the accounts, and our biggest losers at that day have usually have the most size on or have traded the most often, and it's like clockwork.
A good story for really a trader, even not in a prop firm, right? You open up an account, you put money into it. If you just go and you swing for the fences, you know, you're probably going to miss a lot. And there's a reason that the movie Moneyball, where Brad Pitt is kind of doing the math. He's like, we don't need home run hitters. We just need to get on base.
You know, it's correct. And you could still have asymmetric returns trading small, because remember, futures are levered in general. Like if you're trading the NASDAQ at $20 a point, you know, mini NASDAQ NQ at $20 a point, you're still levered up. Even if you're trading one contract or you're trading micros, you're still levered up as what you would be able to control if you're trading, you know, in equities or something like that. So I think a lot of times, you know, traders think if I'm only trading one contract, I'm just leaving so much money on the table. I see it the opposite. Again, I have the luxury of being able to see, you know, what makes traders succeed and what makes them fail, and it's just the size.
You know, there's got to be a bit of truth to this point, because again, like, you see more data than anybody, you know, at the end of the day. Like, you're seeing people blow up every day. You're seeing people get profits. You're seeing who is finding success and why they find success.
Strategies are so different. People are trading mean reversion, trend following, all kinds of different things. And people say, what strategy works the best? I'm like, well, the one that's disciplined enough to trade the smallest. And in general, at TakeProfitTrader, we get a lot of women that seem to be able to be more disciplined for whatever reason, I guess. Whatever the strategy is, the plan usually involves kind of trading within limits, keeping one contract and no more than two, instead of like, okay, I said two, but I ended up at 8.
I'm not going to lie. I'm probably the worst. I'll enter with one contract. It moves against me. And then what do? I'm like, fuck it. I'm going in, baby. So then I enter with like 5 contracts. Yeah. You know, if I was short one contract, I get stopped out. Now I'm going to go long with 5 contracts, because it's going to work this time, right?
It's not easy to be disciplined about it. Like, I've traded forever, and I do the same things that you're saying here. I do the same things I'm telling people not to do. It's like, it's easy to fall in love with something and just trying to impose your will on the market. The market doesn't give a shit what you think or what I think. It's generally not a good way to trade.
That's kind of the point I always want to kind of make in these videos, or just videos in general, is I speak from experience, right? I'm not speaking because I'm like a genius trader that just like, hey, everybody, don't do this. I'm like, no, I'm telling you because I've done it and I know exactly how it's going to end. If you go in full size all the time, you're going to blow up.
And there's no substitute for experience. I love that saying. It's like being here talking to you. The reason that you resonate with people, maybe I resonate with people, you can't bullshit somebody. They can tell that we've done it. The experience tells me, like, I know what I should do. Now, whether I can do that, I'm disciplined enough to do that day in and day out, that's a different story. But at least I know what I should be doing. So when I do it, I'm like, you dumbass, like, you knew you shouldn't have done that.
To go back to your statement about the women, I've actually I've heard this statement long before the prop firm world, even in stocks. You know, I think it's something to do with pride and ego. You know, we as men, like, we want to will you know, our way to profit, and we want to fight the market. We know that fighting does not work.
I heard, it's a great point, Patrick. And I was in Wyoming a little while ago. One of the guys told me, he's like a wildlife guide, and they do backcountry skiing. And he's like, you know, when people die, I'll give you one common denominator of the people that come back safe: the guys that always have a woman in the group with them, because they're just more disciplined about, you know, not taking catastrophic risk when they shouldn't. But it's the same thing. It's just a mentality that women have. They seem to be able to be obviously less macho about how much money they're making or how tough they are if they ski down this hill. And I think that that's just a characteristic of a good trader. So it just happens that women have that trait.
From your experience now running, you know, prop firm for as long as you have and everything, have you ever just like seen a trader just absolutely mind-blowing, just make millions of dollars, in a very quick amount of time?
Well, not millions. We have a guy that is on a run right now. I think he took $170,000 payout maybe this morning. That I think it was over 6 or 7 or 8 days, something like that. For some, a life-changing amount of money. For a lot of people, like they would say 170 grand, that's awesome. We don't see millions over a short term. In fact, I don't know if any of our traders have ever broken the $1 million withdrawal mark, but we do see quick success. Now, with that said, when we're talking about over trading, I could give you a coin right now and you could flip it 10 times heads at $10,000 a day on 5 accounts. You could potentially make 500 grand, but that doesn't mean you're a good trader. That means you're in a good streak of luck, and that means that's not sustainable. I always hesitate, Patrick, to tell people that these crazy success stories, because that gets people to do exactly what I don't want them to do, and is to think, okay, they start to back up the math and go, to get to that point, this guy must be trading 15 contracts. I need to be trading 15 contracts. And I just know that the long-term play that's not going to be successful.
Most people will agree that normally your biggest profit days are followed by big red days. Well, that's the one thing I love about the NASDAQ or futures in general. People love to be like, oh, this is the bottom. Oh, this is the top. And it's like,
Yeah.
like, is it?
Yeah.
The NASDAQ can drop 300 points in one candle, and it's like, it doesn't matter how much you average down at that point.
Well, that's a multi-trillion-dollar skill if you have that skill. It's looking at a chart in hindsight is always like, oh, I would have bought here and sold there. I mean, I've been there, done that, right? Like,
I love a good hindsight trade, baby.
Yeah.
Like right now, I'm looking at this like, man, if I would have just bought at 19,250 and sold at 19,500, I would have made $1 million.
But that's how you know somebody's new to trading, when they go like, if I would have just done this and that. I'm like, yeah, but you didn't, because like the hard right edge, you can't see that. But this is all hindsight.
Well, and I mean, it can be a 1 second of hindsight, right? Like you can literally be 1 second late on a trade, and it could be the difference. Yeah. And it's like, whoa, man, if I would have just shorted like literally a minute ago, you're like, well, you did it, so it don't really matter.
Yeah. That's true. That's true.
Like, I mean, it's kind of like you play professional sports, and it's like at the end of the day, if you hit the puck and it doesn't go in, and it's like, well, it doesn't really matter. But yeah, but I hit it. I think there's a good correlation. Maybe you can agree on this, between being a professional athlete and then also being a professional trader, or being a trader in general, right? Yeah. Like you need discipline. Most athletes are disciplined. They eat right. They work out. They train. And that also applies to trading. And a really good point that I've made recently, or one of our guests made, is that if you're not disciplined outside of trading, like trading is not going to make you more disciplined. Yeah.
The good thing about trading, though, is the opposite is true. Is if you can figure out how to be disciplined in trading, it's a life skill that you'll take into other parts of your life, because you get better as a person if you become a good trader, because your anger issues come up when you're trading, like lack of discipline shows up, and like, I know you're over there like laughing because
I'm agreeing with you.
But right? you're laughing because you're like, hey, that's me. I can get angry, and I think you get better as a person when you get good at something like trading, because it takes skill, right? And it takes growth to turn the corner in trading, to be a profitable trader. Trading's fucking hard. My buddies are like, hey, you got a trading firm, should I trade? I'm like, it's an awesome thing to do, but like, it's a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. But when you get there, it's really fulfilling. And it's not because of the money. It's because the money's a part of it, but it's like, man, I didn't even realize that I had an anger problem, or I didn't even realize how undisciplined I was. And now that I'm disciplined in the markets, now I'm going to the gym every day, and like, I'm just a better person. And I think that that's a big part of trading, is like, you learn a lot about yourself.
At a certain point in my life, I was very undisciplined outside of trading. That's when I moved to Hawaii, right? Like I moved to Hawaii because I wanted to kind of like get rid of all the bullshit and just focus like on myself for a while. And that's when I saw a difference in my trading. It was like I had a whole schedule. Like right now, if I don't wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning and go to the gym, like I feel weird. Yeah. Like I feel weird. Like if I'm gonna come trade, I'm like, I didn't fucking work out today. I'm like, I'm worried that I'm not gonna trade well because I didn't do like what I needed to do before trading.
And that might be a personality trait for you too, because you're
not everyone should go work out and become a good trader.
No, I think it would help a lot of people, but you've realized that, hey, maybe like it clears my head and it calms me down a little bit to work out. So that works for you. But everybody's got to find their thing to overcome whatever their demons are. Your demon might be anger. Their demon might be,
It's ego. That's all it is, right? It's ego.
Frustration about something else. So I don't think it's the same for everybody, but I think that, like, again, trading will teach you a lot about yourself, especially if you become good at it, because you have to confront those demons.
Other than just, obviously God-given ability, what do you think makes like a good pro athlete?
It's similar characteristics. I think that an often coined term like grit, like, I know it's overused, but one of the things in trading is it's so hard that you have to be able to like persevere somehow. So when you're playing professional sport, like I always say, it's like a pyramid, and everybody at the bottom of the pyramid is good when they're a kid, and then you move up and everybody's the best player in high school, and then everybody's the best player on their college team, and then you get up to the top, and like it's so tight up there, right? Everybody's the best of the best, right? So I think that being able to persevere and push through the next step of going from blowing up an account every day, if we're going back to trading, to lasting a lot longer before you blow up, to passing evaluations, to almost consistently passing evaluations with multiple accounts, to consistently taking, profit splits and withdrawals. Like, you're moving up the pyramid there to places where fewer and fewer people get to, and it takes a lot to do it. Like, it takes self-growth, it takes discipline, it takes all of those things, and that's where I see the comparison being, is like, you have to somehow be able to persevere where the common people fail. I always say you want trading to be fucking hard, because if it's hard, that means a lot of people will quit. And the same thing with pro sports, is I wanted it to be a dogfight because I knew there'd be a lot of people that would quit.
I like that. I mean, I've never been a professional athlete, but I mean, as a professional YouTuber, I do feel like there was plenty of times, along the way where I could have quit. I should have quit. People told me to quit, but I was like dead set on like getting to the top. And now that I'm where I'm at, not to say that I'm like at the top, but I mean, I think I'm the king of the space, but whatever. The biggest thing for me now is like staying like humble in the sense of like, do I really need to make $100,000 every day? Do I really need to make $30,000 every day? Like, when I look back at the beginning, when I first started trading, like there was days where I made $300 and I was like excited, right? Like I was like, this is good, right? Like I'm making $300 a day. And now it's so hard mentally to like accept that, some days aren't going to be home run days.
It's good. I mean, we could sit here for hours, Patrick, talking about this. It's really fulfilling, and you try to stay humble, but YouTubing is no different. It's like, people are going to tell you that, and hell, I tell my kids that. It's like, they want to do something, I'm like, dude, do you know how hard it is to do that? And then I stop myself because I know there are people out there doing it, and the fruit of the labor is right there for the guys at the top, right?
Yeah.
Like, when you get up there, you're like, shit, it was worth it. But getting there is hard, and you know how many times you want to quit as a trader? People listening to this, it's like, how many times you got to get knocked down before you start to, question if you're delusional. Like, shit, should I keep doing this? Like, if you haven't thought about that, then you probably haven't tried something hard enough.
Well, yeah, if you haven't thought about quitting trading, then you haven't
Not
traded.
even trading anything.
No,
like,
I'm saying traded.
Yeah. Trading is no different.
Like, if you haven't had that day where you're just like, I'm done, I'm just gonna quit. Like, I mean, I still have those days where nothing works, right? And that's the thing about trading, is you can show up, you can follow your plan, you can do every single thing right, but it don't matter because the market is still gonna do what it's gonna do. Like, you can enter a bull flag and be like, okay, this is my setup, I'm gonna get it, and then all of a sudden it just reverses instantly, and you're like, oh my god, I just lost everything. Yeah, it's that easy, right? And running a prop firm, I'm sure it has its challenges, ups and downs, and dealing with the industry as a whole, but I do give you a lot of respect for the sense that I don't see you on Twitter arguing with a bunch of morons all day.
Yeah, I mean, that's not right or wrong. It's just like not my personality. I'm comfortable in my skin, I guess. As like, guys can take shots at me, guys can provoke me and try to get me to say things by talking shit. I do think that there's some people in the industry that should just kind of play in their own sandbox and not veiled attempts to like take shots at TakeProfitTrader. I don't engage with them over it. I stay in my lane and do my best what I think that the customer likes, because I was a trader, right, Patrick? Like, I know, like, as a trader, I would have hated this, or like, I would have hated this, or I would have liked this. So like, that's what we try to do, and I stay out of the rest of the shit.
Well, I mean, there might be something to be said. I'm sure playing hockey and all that back in the day, I'm sure the other team would say shit about you, and like, do you let it get to you mentally, or do you fire back?
Well, in hockey it's different though, because if somebody talks shit or takes a shot at you like, they at least have to stand up and fight for it.
This is true. The internet is fun now with that.
You got keyboard warriors.
I've never had anybody come up to me in real life and talk shit. Never once. But every day I get thousands of comments.
Yeah.
I go to a car show and everyone comes up and then like fangirls. Like, can I get your photo? Can I get your handshake? But like nobody's coming up and saying, hey, you're fat.
Yeah.
But on the internet, they say I'm fat all day. It's so
Yeah,
weird.
it's crazy. But like I said, that's just my personality. I stay in my lane. I lived before where if you looked me up online, you'd see me get my ass kicked plenty of times on YouTube fighting on the ice. And I think that's where, real men fight and not on the keyboard. And I can say that when I did fight, I usually lost. But that's all right. I'm fighting.
But you fought though, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I saw a great quote the other day, and they're like, everybody wants to give their opinion on the gladiators in the Coliseum, but like at the end of the day, it's like they're there, right? Like they're the ones who are going to experience victory. They're going to experience defeat, and everybody else is just watching.
The man in the arena, the famous quote.
Yeah.
You should read that. It's really good.
I'm gonna read that afterwards. Every day I've got someone's opinion. Someone's giving me their opinion, but it's like, hey, I've gotten to where I'm at, kind of doing what I've done, and do I look back and have I made bad choices along the way? Maybe, but I'm still proud of where I'm at. So
it's a good point, and I think that's part of what we do at TPT is like, have you ever heard Joe Rogan say like, I am not my ideas? Like I can have an idea and think it's great, but you got to be okay with saying, hey, I thought this then, and I was fucking wrong. Instead of like,
I always could adopt that.
Always doubling down on like, just because you feel like you have to be right. I think that's foolish.
It's funny you say that because I literally just posted on Twitter yesterday saying that, I'm kind of done. I'm just done with the back and forth constantly. I think I've proven, I can deliver and do what I can do. And at this point, it's like everybody's just constantly coming at me, trying to get clout and trying to grow their following. And I know what they're doing. I know the game. But it's just like, at what point is it just too much, right? Like, I'm making plenty of money. I'm a millionaire. And it's like, who cares anymore? Like, who cares what anyone else thinks? Am I making money? Do I support my family and my 12-year-old? Like, that's the biggest thing for me. Talking about kids, my son, I asked him, like, what do you want to be when you grow up? He's like, I want to be a YouTuber. I'm like, oh, fuck. Literally, I'm like, come on, anything but a YouTuber, bro. Anything. Don't be a YouTuber.
I know. It's funny you say that, though, because my son was like, Dad, are you going to be disappointed? He grew up in a professional hockey setting. I was like, Dad, are you going to be disappointed if I don't play hockey? I'm like, dude, save yourself the heartache and don't fucking play.
Yeah.
So I feel the same. It's like when you go through all of it, you're almost like, man, as fulfilling as it is, I'd hate to see you.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, you want your kids to struggle too, like learn a little bit about life. I don't want it to be easy for them. So tough thing to be a parent.
Well, I feel like for me, it's like I grinded and I put in all this work and effort, and it's like I kind of don't want him to have to go through that, right? It's like I want to be able to be like, hey, you can do whatever you want to be, but like you don't need to do what I did, like. Because I know what it's like. If you choose to do that, but you better be ready.
Yeah.
What do you have your kids playing sports or anything?
Yeah, my oldest is 11, and he's like a brain. He's gonna be like I don't know. He's into like rockets and stuff. He
play video games?
No, yeah, a little bit, but he does. He likes to. I don't let him play like nonstop like he'd probably want to.
I just put my son on the Fortnite all day. I force him. I wake him up early and say, "Bro, you got to play Fortnite."
Yeah, maybe.
I swear to God, he was like, because he was bitching, complaining how he wanted to play Fortnite more. I'm like, hey, if you're gonna play Fortnite, you're gonna play Fortnite.
Yeah,
boy.
you're gonna be the best.
So now he like doesn't want to play it anymore. It's funny. Like I've reverse psychology. Now he like wants to go fishing. He's like, I don't want to play Fortnite. I'm like, what do you mean? He goes, I want to go fishing. I'm like, oh, okay, I guess we'll go fishing.
Yeah, my youngest is like that. Like he's more of an athlete. My daughter rides horses. She's into equestrian, which is like the most outrageously expensive sport.
You're screwed.
Out there.
You are so screwed.
So we're we stay pretty busy. My youngest is 6, and he's a sportsman. He plays baseball, hockey, golf, but
speaking about the family thing, to make a good point here is I've talked to some fathers, some men who have families that get into trading, right? And it's interesting because I meet some people and they're like, I'm like, what's your goal? Like, what do you want to do? And I met this guy. He's like, man, I just want to pay my kids daycare. Like, if I can make an extra money, working a full-time job trading to pay for my kids' daycare, that way my wife doesn't have to work, that I can support my family with an extra $2,000 a month. Like, I'm like, dude, that's the goal right there, right?
That's exactly right, and that's
having a reason.
Yeah, exactly. You got like a defined reason of like what you want to do, and not just like, hey, I'm trying to make a ton of money, because then you don't really have a goal, and it turns into.
Well, you're going to be more disciplined because you're like, hey.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying is you end up staying out of the trap of like trading 15 NASDAQ contracts just because you're trying to make as much money as possible instead of being okay with, $100 a day across 5 accounts because you're gets you closer to your goal.
That's also a funny topic too, because you ask someone like, hey, look, if you could make $1,000 a week for working 30 minutes a day, but you can never make more than 1,000. You can only make 1,000 for the rest of your life. Would you do it? They'd be like, yes, I'll sign up. To work 30 minutes a day to make $1,000 a week, like I'll do that. But then you look at their trading, you're like, well, why won't you do it trading? We're like, well, I'm like, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's because the carrot is there to make more.
You
can't resist it.
It's like the mental. Like if you make 1,000, it's kind of like now you're like, well, why not make another 1,000?
It's just a couple clicks of the button, right?
Yeah.
Just add some contracts.
I got so many people that I asked them like, how much money do you make working all week? They're like, I make $700 working 40 hours a week. And I'm like, and you're not happy to make $1,000 trading? They're like, well, I would be, but I always blow it up. That's funny too, because I would say the biggest blow ups for people are always like when you're right there. You're right there either to pass the eval or you're right there to get that payout, $100 away.
Yeah.
$100 away from payout, and you're like, boom, blew it all up.
Yeah.
If you just had any other just little tidbits of experience and info to give to a trader that's like, James, I want to start trading, what should I do? How should I trade? What should I do it?
Yeah, I mean, again, I think some of it depends on what you're doing. Like when I was learning how to trade, playing hockey in Europe, and I was back from the rink about noon, 1 o'clock, which is about 7 o'clock Eastern time. So I had the advantage of I was there at the market open. Not everybody has that with their job, because the worst thing you can do as a trader is quit your job and be like, I'm going to do this.
That's the worst. I'm all day.
Because it puts so much pressure on your actual trading. So I would say that one of the things I think that I talk about outside of the obvious sizing stuff is to try, like Kobe used to say, try to be the best at what you do. Like if it's making keyboards, be the best guy making keyboards. If your availability for trading is from 12:30 to 1:30 Eastern, find something that works during that time and be really fucking good at that. And know when today it doesn't look like it's panning out, but it so well that it's like you can see it on the back of your eyelids when you sleep. So specialize in something. Get good at one product. Get good at the NASDAQ or I was the ES or the bonds or whatever. And watch it if that's your time, 12:30 to 1, that's the time Europe is closing, then get really good at trading the Europe close and only do that. Don't just try to I'm looking at the screens right now for 5 minutes, I'm going to find a way to make money. It's like, man, the market is so nuanced. It's so hard to do that.
It's funny because I've been looking at my data trading for 2025 so far, and if I really look any trades that I take outside of my normal trading times, the stats are terrible on them. If I'm trading that 9 o'clock to 10 o'clock hour, I'm right around that 80%, 75% win-loss ratio. It's before and after when I start to destroy myself, middle of the day. And I do it over and over. I sit here and I'm like, 12 o'clock, but there's a bull flag. And then I enter and then it reverses. And I'm like, why did I do that? And I'm like,
that's the lunch hour. So that's a different market environment than what you're good at. And it's tempting and it's hard. And trust me, like I said, I'm saying this out of experience because even telling you this, I can still do it too. Just like you have it with all your experience, you'll still do it. It's I know what I'm good at, and still for some odd reason I haven't figured out yet, I'll still do things contrary to what I know.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest problem for traders right there is just the discipline, stopping yourself, knowing when to walk away.
As a disciplined guy, I feel like I'm a pretty disciplined guy. Obviously, you are now too, but still can't help myself sometimes.
Well, the discipline is only good if you follow it, right? It's right now I can jump in the market for no reason.
Isn't that the definition of discipline?
No, sir, that's not. This guy, he's too smart for us. So in terms of TakeProfitTrader, just give a quick, how long have you guys been in business right now?
I think we opened our doors in 2021.
2021.
And very slowly, like we usually do, very slowly. And that feels like it's an eternity ago, man. So I don't even know.
4 years ago in the PropFirm space is a long fucking time.
Yeah, exactly. It feels like 30 years. Over time, we've grown. We've made ourselves a little bit better. 2 steps forward, 1 step back kind of thing. Always making mistakes, still making mistakes. That's kind of our story. It's 2025 now, so I think we've been incorporated for 4 years. I think I started the LLC in Florida in April 21, something like that. Yeah. We didn't really open up for customers until late 2021, I believe.
And your brother works with you too, right?
Yeah. Yeah, my brother's head of the risk department, like fraud, not trading risk, like fraud risk. Like,
does it ever get weird working with your brother?
No, my brother and I get along really well. Like, it's obviously some heated conversations between him and I because he's not afraid to tell me what he thinks. There's no, like, punches held. One of the executives at the firm still plays professional hockey in Norway.
I went to lunch with you guys one time with your team. You had some big boys on the team.
He's
I was
a tough
like,
son of a bitch, that guy, man. He's still playing. He's only like 27. I met him when he was 15. We got a guy that I played college hockey with, Canadian kid that's an executive. I say kid, he's in his 40s, but... And then a guy, Jeff, that's a big part of our team. He's out in Arizona. So we got kind of guys everywhere, and we get together a bunch and try to take profit the best we can.
I think we got to bring all the Take Profit guys down and go fishing one day.
We should. I'd be the worst guy. I never caught a fish in my life.
Ooh, I got you, baby. I know a place. To catch fish. So in terms of, I know you can't tell us all the secrets, but like, where do you see the prop firm space kind of going this year, and how do you feel about the space right now?
It's funny that you say that because everybody expects me to have some secret about where the industry is going, and we know just as much as everybody else is. Like, if we're putting our best foot forward of, like, we have a story at Take Profit. Like, we're trying to get traders from evaluations into real live market accounts. Anything else than that is shady practice, in my opinion, and we feel like if we're doing right for traders, then if and when the government comes in or the CFTC comes in and wants to regulate the industry or something like that, then we'll be fine, right? And I don't know anything more than the next guy, which is, I know as much as you do, is like, where does the future of the industry lie? I think, like most things in life, if you're doing the right thing, you're going to be okay. And you're going to have some time to, hey, this is the rule and that's the rule. We're going to be able to get in line with the new playing field, whatever that playing field may be, but we're not, trying to hide from anything or something like that. So I just wish I knew more, but at this point, I don't think anybody really does.
No, I know more for sure.
Yeah.
I don't know if you follow my YouTube channel, but I know everything. No, I do want to give quick props here. I know we're wrapping this up, but I do want to give quick props. I think your program right now is great, right? You got the evals, you go in the pro account, and then the pro plus. Like, the pro plus is the holy grail of kind of like prop firm accounts, because once you're in the pro plus, it's kind of like, hey, do your thing, make money. We're not here, like, it's not our money, right? Like, well, it's your money, but like, if you make profit, like, we're not going to be upset about it. Like, if you make $20,000 in a day trading in your pro plus account, we're like, congratulations, like, that's awesome.
There's no conflict of interest.
You have a path for traders to be like, hey, I want to find success. I want to do the eval. I want to prove that I can pass it. I want to go into the pro account, and then I want to get moved into the pro plus, where, like we talked about earlier, a lot of firms, like, even when you're in the quote unquote live account, there's still payout rules. There's still like, oh, you can only get paid out this many times, but it's like, wait, I thought it's a live account. Why does it matter?
Yeah.
So you guys are you're delivering on what the whole point of the live account is. And then, like we talked about earlier, you can get 5 live accounts as well.
Yeah. I mean, that's ultimately, like, the goal is, and what we were just talking about is, like, it's not a conflict of interest. Like, it's okay, here you are. We want to get you asked why $10,000 a day is because we want to get you to the holy grail. We want to get you into that account so that there isn't like, hey, we want Patrick to fail. Well, no, we don't want Patrick to fail. We want Patrick to make a lot of money in Pro Plus. That's what we want. That's our ultimate goal, is for the guys to get into Pro Plus and make a lot of money. And we feel like if and when the regulation to the industry comes, that's what's going to happen. It's going to be like, hey, what's your path to live? Now, firms will come out all the time and say, we know this, they know that. Maybe they're smarter than me. Maybe they have some inside information. I think it's bullshit.
They don't.
But I don't think so. So we just keep our mouth shut and try to do the right thing, because when we know the time comes, if you're doing the right thing, you're probably going to be okay.
Mic drop. Mic drop. I mean, that's it right there. That is it. The people online that are posting constantly about, oh, big rules coming, big changes coming. It's like, what are you talking? They have no idea.
It's also something, though, Patrick, that you can't control. We can't control. So it's like, what am I going to do about something I can't control?
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, it's just fear. It's just like fear mongering, and then people just want to like act like they're important, right? Like, oh, I know everything about regulation. I'm like, my favorite was the people that were, oh, the CME is going to regulate the industry. And I'm like, well, the CME is a publicly traded company, so they're not regulators. Like, the CME group itself is a publicly traded company. Like, they're not the actual regulators. So it's the CFTC. It's the what is it? The other.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we could talk 3 or 4 hours about the difference and
all the crazy stuff.
what people think about who regulates what, and it ain't the CME.
Yeah, exactly.
Now the CME's got a seat at the table maybe because they're so big, but they're not the ones making the decisions.
Yeah. Well, it's definitely an interesting space because I think, like we talked about before, there is, if you, from a regular standpoint or just from the industry standpoint, if you look at like TakeProfitTrader, you look at the path to going live, like, is this the best bang for your buck when it comes to like actually learning to trade? I believe so. I think you probably believe so.
Yeah.
Like, you've put real money into an account. You know what the results look like when you first start out.
I think prop is great, personally. And that's a biased opinion, but actually a informed biased opinion because I've done it, right?
Yeah,
I've done.
You've lost real money as a trader. So you're like, wait, instead of putting $10,000 into an account, I can spend $10,000 over like a 6-month period if I keep blowing up evals.
And you have like handcuffs on. Like, you don't have handcuffs on when it's your own account.
Yeah. Well, that's the best thing too, right? The consistency rules or whatever it is, like prop firms put in there. Sometimes it's like it kind of keeps you in check. You're like, oh, like even with the eval, instead of trying to make all my profit in one day, I know that I can't. I know that I need to get that 50%. So it's just like let me be consistent for 5 days.
Yeah, whereas it's hard to have that discipline when it's your own money because you're like, I don't care, I'll just whatever.
Yeah, no one's keeping me in check.
Yeah, exactly.
No one's gonna stop me. So there it is, James Sixsmith, the man, the myth, the legend, the guy who doesn't care about your internet drama, but he's here to talk about it. So we're excited to see the future of this space. I think, like I said, it's a growing space. People are making a lot of money, and it's just there's some bad actors along the way. But with you guys kind of having that clear path into the live and everything, I think you're in a good spot.
Thanks for having me, Patrick. It's really awesome to talk to you, industry leader, and
sir,
appreciate it.
I'm the number one, sir. I don't know if you've seen my title somewhere here, but we're number one. But if you guys want to learn more, check out TakeProfitTrader.com. Right now, no activation fee, 30% off. Do the math. It's a pretty damn good bang for your buck deal right now, and get those daily payouts. I think I saw Nutty Bar. He's in that live plus account, getting his daily payouts, just buying whatever mower he's gonna buy next. We'll see. And there it is. We'll talk to you guys later on. Peace to the Middle East.